must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
The ingredients of a redemption strategy, if they are done in an opposite manner, can create very dangerous conflict at the end. Are we likely to forget what we saw in 2007, early June, when drums of war were being sung by the same tanks, the same alternatives, the same statements? Do we forget history so much, so quickly? How will history judge us harshly if we repeat what is only 14 years ago, one of the worst nightmares that the people of Kenya had, one of the worst vocabulary that they have never witnessed in such a magnitude. It is therefore very important that at this angle, at this era, at this juncture, what is needed in Kenya today is a redemption strategy. President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga initiated what we call a redemption strategy. Any conflict resolution expert will agree that a redemption strategy looks for areas that have decayed, areas that have broken down, souls that are desperate, souls that are violent, souls that have gone forgiven, desperate, state of despondence coming in, creation of class struggle can create the worst type of conflict that you have ever seen in our history. We therefore call upon the people of Kenya themselves to look at these 5 keywords. 1, accountability. When the government talks of wiping out corruption, support them. That's accountability. 2, truth telling. When the churches receive rotten money and they send rotten money to God through prayers, you create a gap. 3, reconciliation. When a country does not reconcile the past, the current, and perhaps the production of the past and the current, there will be a future. The country cannot have a good future. 4, restitution. The amount of damage caused by several factors in Kenya, therefore, create an urgent need for restitution of society, restitution of morals, restitution of our national ethics, ethos. That's why BBI, with its 9 points, will work as a restituting body to find out where you went wrong and to bring it to a shape. Renewal is to restitute. Equally, the 5th one is reparations. There are still people and there are still those who harbor the past injuries. There are still those who still look for their loved ones. There are still those who want their houses back. There are still those who see smoke in the houses where they used to live for 50 years. Have we reparated them? Have we brought back sanity? And finally, in a redemption strategy, if we do all this, find out what makes us quarrel every day. What makes Kenyans quarrel every day. What makes Kenyans have bent necks, walking with their necks like this, as if they want to go and kill somebody, is elections. Have you cleaned your elections? Does the Kenyan election need a redemption? The answer is yes. Do you need the mechanism to be redempted? The answer is yes. Kenya needs new electoral mechanisms. The one that will not bring and breed about violence, but that will usher us to a new era of tranquility, where the loser greets the winner and the winner greets the loser. The time will come when you need to have two papers, one for winning, one for losing. If candidates in Kenya can hold those two papers when they go to elections, this country will rise and shine again. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, my people. God bless you. God bless you.
Good morning to you, and thank you for joining us this morning. Of course, we had a show early in the morning where we were reviewing the newspaper, the headlines in Kenya this morning, and we got to discuss an array of very important things that have been captured in today's leading three newspapers and Matters Kenya. So right now we would like to turn our attention to the BBI, and of course, as I mentioned there earlier, I think when you hear the BBI, for those who have not had an opportunity to go through that document, the minute you hear the BBI, you just think about the expanded executive, you just think about the bloated parliament and other issues. But BBI has also been able to capture other things that are really important to Kenyans, because it is Kenyans that went there and gave their opinion on some of the things that they would want addressed adequately in the constitution, and one of them is safety and security. And earlier we were looking at this story on the front pages of the Star newspaper, so maybe I'll just get a bit of our panelists' opinion on what this headline this morning. I know we looked at it shortly, but some panelists are not part of the conversation, and then we shall proceed to our topic because it is in line with what we are talking about today. So joining me on the panel is Daniel Wesonga from Nairobi. Daniel, good morning.
Yes, a very, very good morning, Miriam Ogutu at our headquarters in Nairobi. My good friend Douglas Kirime in Meru, and our viewers in Nairobi and the rest of the world. Morning.
Okay, and morning, Douglas Kirime from Meru.
Good morning, Miriam. Good morning, Sean Wesonga, and our panelists, Professor, and our viewers around the world.
How is Meru this morning?
Meru is so cool. Mm-hmm. We're having some rains here and there, and we thank God.
Okay, very well. And we are also joined by Jevan Karanja. I don't know if he has joined us yet, but joining us from Nanyuki. Jevan, good morning. All right. So Jevan is working on joining us, and Professor Jared Onyari, good morning. Oh, well. So Professor Anjevan shall be joining us. Issue with technology, sometimes the signal might not come as quickly as possible depending on people's location, but I'm sure they shall be joining the conversation very, very soon. So on the front pages of the Star newspaper this morning, Uhuru lays bare crime surge in security report. Before we turn our attention and see some of the things that Kenyans proposed to be included in the BBI in terms of their safety and security. So let's look at this story on page 4 and 5 of the Star newspaper. And we looked at it earlier, but I said we will not look at it in detail, so I let it for right now. And Kenya has recorded a crime surge the government attributes to the country's jobs crisis, incitement and support of outlawed groups by political leaders. A new report on the state of national security tabled in Parliament by President Uhuru Kenyatta shows that crime in Kenya increased by 5.8% in 2019. Uhuru partly put the blame on the political elite, whom the report accused of supporting and bankrolling activities of outlawed groups. And the report compiled by the National Intelligence Service and other agencies says politicians are at the center of the reemergence of the outlawed Mungiki sect, land and boundaries dispute, as well as intercommunal conflict. Douglas, when you hear a report like that, what comes to your mind? Are you worried as a Kenyan?
I'm worried because our politicians are known to thrive in violence, and most of them have got to parliament or in positions of their in leadership in their communities through the gun. Mm-hmm. And we wouldn't want to have a situation where leaders control this country. We have had this thing before, and it has been repeated in weeks. And recently I was having a conversation with someone in Meru town, and they told me they are going to vote for someone because they fear their community to be eliminated from the other community. This country from the onset is a country for all of us, over 47 million Kenyans, and there is no one who owns monopoly over the people of Kenya. There is no one that can come today and decide that a person from Mandera cannot transact in Meru, or a person from Meru cannot live in Busia. So our politicians, and especially our security agencies, should rein on those politicians known as Kenya. So in this state, there is no one has more power than the other. There is no one that has more monopoly over the other. Mm-hmm. We are all Kenyans, and our leaders should stop misusing their people, and they should stop using them as a scapegoat to power. Mm-hmm. One thing that the Ministry of India should do is to arrest those politicians, and that should not be filing tribal or war, Dukat or Rasuri. The people themselves know the people that kill them. The people know the politicians as send coded languages every day on me. They know calls, and they know who is also mentioning to 2022 war drums and any war drums. We need to be able to come to terms. Kenya is not going anywhere. We don't want to go where we went in 2007, where some Kenyans thought they are bigger than others. Mm-hmm. And we need to be able to address these issues courageously and fluently. We don't want to mince our words when we say that Kenya does not belong to a particular crop of leaders that are using violence, that are sponsoring violence, and that are promising others violence when they're in power. We need to vote leaders on merit, nation, and cohesion, and there is nothing that can move Kenyans from where we are today, Miriam.
Okay.
So we're able to address even 2022 or talk to them. I have seen our good friend in the MP for Tiati. His name is William Kamket. They were meeting other Pokot leaders so that there will be peace in Baringo and Pokot. Mm-hmm. We have seen them facilitating community to community conversations on security and their well-being, and that is laudable, that's commendable. We don't want people to be speaking in harsh terms, especially when the safety of Kenyans is concerned, Miriam.
All right, thank you so much. And we seem to have had a bit of a problem there with your signal. I hope it doesn't interrupt, because you're putting forth very important points there. So whereas the threats posed by Mungiki significantly declined during the period, there was reemergence of activities by its its remnants in parts of Nyeri, Murang'a, Kirinyaga, Kiambu, and Laikipia counties. The 35-page report states this was partly attributed to the support of the outlawed group by some political leaders, coupled with the Mungiki leader's quest to reassert his position as the sect leader. Mungiki sect members, the report says, majorly used public gatherings disguised as worship meetings to popularize the sect, recruit members, and coordinate activities. Should we be worried, Daniel?
Miriam, that is a very, very worrying trend, and that is why from the onset, when we were castigating the hustler versus the dynasty narrative, we had a conception in our mind that these kind of scenarios are what was going to be birthed out of such kind of divisive narratives by politicians. And now it's now coming out clearly that the divisive and the retrogressive narrative of the hustlers versus dynasty is slowly but surely coming to the ugly fruition of bringing back the reemergence of these sect groups and the militia groups that were very dormant before, and they had been suppressed by the law enforcement agencies. Now that tells you, Miriam, that perhaps this was the politicians' sole purpose in invoking those kind of tensions and preparing these sects as their kind of machinery to use towards the 2022 presidential elections. And it's very unfortunate, Miriam. Miriam, we read our constitution. It starts with the preamble, we the people, which means Kenya belongs to the people of Kenya. All of us, you have a right to live anywhere in the country. You have a right to worship anywhere in the country, to go to school anywhere in the country, and also start a business and build yourself and grow and enjoy prosperity in any corner of this country. And therefore, any politician who tries to use a divisive narrative to side Kenyans against each other, it is very, very regrettable. And of course, you remember in 2007, 2008, we had very, very ugly occurrences that dented our conscience as a nation and really robbed us of our emblem, our historic emblem as the island of peace in East Africa. And we as Kenyans, we should promise ourselves that never again should the occurrences of 2007, 2008 repeat in our history, in our future again. We should castigate these leaders who are trying to bring some elements of division by bringing up class struggles amongst Kenyans, by driving ethnically motivated narratives that will divide Kenyans along ethnic lines, and also make sure that our politicians really campaign based on agenda and not any other issues that will bring unrest among Kenyans. So to me, Miriam, I think it's a very high time. We need the Commission, National Cohesion and Integration Commission, to move in with speed, make sure that these kind of tensions and these kind of armed groups are pressed back into suppression, and also they put out clear demarcation on the speeches that the politicians make, the narrative that they write. We cannot anchor our national future on the chariot of violence and ethnic animosity. Never shall that happen again in this country. Okay. And therefore, the relevant authorities, yes, should move with speed and make sure that they curb the current occurrences. Of course, the National Intelligence Service has already given us the statistics. Right. It is only now upon the government authorities to move with speed and be able to bring the situation back to normalcy. Okay. I submit, Miriam.
Thank you, Daniel. So in the report, the government admits that youth unemployment is a major contributor to the crime surge. The major causes of these threats, the crime surge, include unemployment, perceived marginalization, environmental degradation, technological advancements, regional conflicts, corruption, unhealthy political competition, and negative ethnicity, the report stated. And a couple of these things I think we've been looking at here on the show. When you talk about the politics of have and have not, of course, a part of the population will feel we are marginalized, and because of that, we have to go get what those people have that belongs to us. I think when you create that narrative and that perception, so there has been perceived marginalization, and the marginalization that exists exist that perhaps is genuine, but there's another one that is created through perception, and we've seen that happen very well, especially with the political class, and also unemployment. And Professor, I'd like to bring you in on this point because you have been very consistent with what you've been saying. If you don't address the issues that touch on the youth of this country, this is a ticking time bomb.
That is true. That's true, Miriam. And I have said, and I want to reiterate again, that we need to seriously think on what we need to do with our young people. You know, the young people of today, I know the young people of 10 years ago or 20 years ago, or when I was growing up, Miriam. These are learned people. These are very highly educated people. These are people with skills. But we must come forward to tell them, Miriam, that crime does not pay. And we should come out with ways, Miriam, on how the young people have to use their talents, they have to use their gifts, they have to use their skills. And Miriam, in the 21st century, Miriam, where we are today, Miriam, is a world of innovation. You have to come out with the ideas, and you have to be assisted with those ideas on how to move forward. Look at the young people, Miriam, the young people in Nyahururu. You saw they came with that kind of car, which is working. They have done 3 million. And although the costs, Miriam, they are saying that it's a little bit expensive, Miriam, this is where the government comes in, Miriam, to support these people. Like now, Miriam, you know how the border came to this country, Miriam. Mm-hmm. Before they were rated, Miriam, the border was going at around 300, 400, one. But when the taxes were moved, Miriam, they accelerated, they became affordable, Miriam. So in areas like now, BBI is trying to give tax already to our young people, Miriam, that they can be able to remove that kind of expenses, which they have to incur of taxes. Miriam, I have no doubt I've said, Miriam, like M-Pesa software, Miriam, it is an innovation of young people, Miriam. So we have to deliberate, Miriam, to involve young people. Miriam, you know very well, as I do, the people who have come with the Uduma innovation, they are just young people, Miriam. So young people, Miriam, they have got much to over this country, mm-hmm. if they are mentored properly, Miriam, and what is rightfully belong to the young people should be given to the young people.
Mm-hmm. And
when we say that the government, you know, Miriam, mm-hmm. we must hate and detest corruption, Miriam. Mm-hmm. And we must come together, and the young people must know that why they are what they are. They find them that kind of situation, Miriam, because of corruption. 30% which goes to the fiscal challenged person, the youth and the women. Who takes their salt, Miriam? And if the young people were getting this kind of tenders and Miriam, surprise, Miriam, it will change the lives of the young people. So, Miriam, I want to conclude by saying this. You cannot discuss issues to do with the young people if they are not on the table. Mm. And this is where this country, we have gone wrong. We want to discuss Wesonga is not on the table. And the rules of natural justice, Miriam, does not require this. We must hear what are their views, so that, Miriam, we can be able to mentor. We have even registered Miriam to say that these young people, Miriam, can get this internship, Miriam. Again, it is full of corruption, Miriam. You cannot find that there is an ordinary youth from a poor background, Miriam, getting that opportunity, Miriam. So, Miriam, we must be able to fight corruption. Mm. We must be able to engage our young people. Or else, if we don't engage them, Miriam, they are going to engage us in a bad way.
Like what?
In terms of crimes, Miriam.
Absolutely.
I hate, Miriam, when most young people from poor background, Miriam, they go up to university, Miriam, up to college level, Miriam, any level of training, Miriam, and then they turn into criminals, and then you shoot them, and then they die. No, they have got a role, Miriam, to build their country, and they can do it effectively.
Mm-hmm. All right, very well. So we are looking at, before we jump into how the BBI is addressing the issue of safety and security, this is a new report on the state of the national security that was tabled in Parliament by President Uhuru Kenyatta that shows that crime in Kenya has increased by 5.8% in the year 2019. And among other causes in this report, they're saying that has contributed to the rise in crime is the issue of unemployment, perceived marginalization, environmental degradation, technological advancement, regional conflicts, corruption, unhealthy political competition, and negative ethnicity. And one of our viewers here, Geoffrey, I think, is it Bosire? Because it's written as Bosre. Maybe, okay. Good morning, and thank you for watching. And you're saying crime pays at times. It's through corruption that politicians are rich. The politicians are not interested in empowering the youth. Karanja, how would you respond to that as a young person?
Miriam, that is the mentality that the young people have. And I quite agree with our viewer that whatever he is saying is true. Because, Miriam, we have made to believe even in the society that you cannot get rich, you cannot get material properties through the right channel. You must use dubious means to get where some people are. And that is a mentality that is even making young people to get to a point of desperation, Miriam. Because when merit will not be considered for employment, when merit will not be considered for appointment, Miriam, what do you do when you are desperate, when you reach at that corner? What do? You do what is next available to you. And that is radicalization and joining such groups as Mungiki and the others. Therefore, Miriam, at the end of the day, the government should make sure that the young people have trust in what they are doing, Miriam. Because, Miriam, what is lacking in this nation is hope. Nobody is giving the young generation the hope. Because, Miriam, the people who are supposed to give us the hope, they are there and they are engaging in all manners of corruption. There's people who are making the young people to lack opportunities of employment. They are the same people who are making their sons and daughters to manage the big companies that we have in this country. They are the ones who are getting tenders from the other government parastatals, Miriam. When will the young people of this nation who are not connected, who don't know anybody in the government, get a chance to be and to belong and to feel as part of this nation? Miriam, nowadays, and sorry to say this, people are saying that most of the people who are suffering today are graduates, are people who went to university, are people who have their degrees, they have their certificates. These are the people who are suffering the most, Miriam. Why? Because the people who didn't go to school and they joined these bad groups, they are making good money. That is why you find the people now who are joining these groups, they are the people who went to school, they are clever criminals, Miriam, to say. That is why you find nowadays it is even hard to trick and to get these criminals. Because now, Miriam, these are persons who have gone to university. Mm-hmm. He has done a course in hacking these systems. They go there, they get some small money. That is the criminality that is in this nation is higher. And it's high time that even the intelligence to up there again. And it is because we, the young people, don't have an opportunity. The ground is not level. The terrain is no longer tenable. Mm-hmm. And this is created by the politician and the people who vote in this country. And that is why I say, Miriam, in order to have a regime that will cater for the young people must be on the table. We must, and not any ordinary young man, Miriam. You know, we might glorify them because they are under 30, they are under 40 years to go to the negotiating table. Mm-hmm. Some of them have been already corrupted. Their memory, Miriam, you know, we had these small phones called Kababe. Mm-hmm. And anytime we used to put a memory, it was saying that the memory is formatted. And some of these young men, their memory have been formatted. They only think corruption. They only think to get money in dubious means. Mm-hmm. So we don't trust those kind of men. Okay. We want to trust young people who have high level of morality, integrity, and honesty to be at the negotiating table. Right. That is the only way the young people of this nation will be liberated, will be taken away from the yokes of
criminal activities and being used by politicians.
And so on.
All right. Thank you so much. And they've also mentioned there how political leaders play a bigger role in encouraging these bad behaviors among the young people. And one thing there just struck out in that list of the causes of these threats and the surge in criminal activities, and one of them is negative ethnicity. Daniel, how do you think this contributes to crime?
Miriam, in this country, a country that has had a very ugly past of tribal animosities, whenever some people, some politicians tend to retreat back to the tribal cocoons and rally their supporters along those ethnic lines, it really brings a lot of bitterness within some communities who are sometimes even deluded by their own leaders to imagine that they have forgotten by the government of the day. And therefore, this really arouses some kind of ethnic tensions amongst communities. So you find that not only in Kenya, Miriam, but also when the other day I was reading about the history of Nigeria, and you find that when they achieved independence, 10 years into their self-governance structure, politicians lacked the agenda to rally their people behind. And the easiest bait they could use to get votes and really have political clout was to retreat back to the tribal line kind of politics. So it tells you that the African continent is a continent whose population is deeply divided along ethnic lines. And having that in mind, it tells you that the only way the politicians have been exploiting this kind of political capital is through mobilizing their people along ethnic lines. And therefore it tells you, Miriam, when you hear such a report saying that politicians have been using that particular ugly path of mobilizing people along ethnic lines to bring tensions, it tells you that this is a seed that was planted by politicians since post-independence times, where parties were formed along ethnic lines. And therefore, apart from the independence KANU party, but when it comes during Moi era, you find that some parties were associated with a particular community. And that is it even right now. We only have few political parties which have a national outlook and have an agenda which is more nationalistic than others. But the majority of our parties, you'll find that when you say, you talk about Wiper party, someone will tell you that is a party which is only dominant in Ukambani. When you talk about ANC, someone will tell you that is a Maragoli party. When you talk about Ford Kenya, they'll tell you that is a Bungoma's party, Wetangula's party, or maybe Wamnyinyi. So, Miriam, we have always had a bad habit of mobilizing our people along ethnic lines. And to be able to mobilize people along ethnic lines, of course, you have to tell them a story that really resonates with them. And the story has always been telling the people, look, the government of the day has forgotten you in this and this and that. Therefore, elect me so that I go and champion for your cause, and we shall be able to get our fair share of the spoils. And that one has really been dividing the nation quite badly and making it quite violent towards the government's agenda. And that is what even what North Korea used to do, telling the North Koreans when they don't have facilities, when they don't have enough income, jobs, they tell them that it is America and the West which has taken away your jobs. Therefore, as a citizen of this country, you have to stand firm against America and the West. You have to really fight them in each and every sphere that you encounter one another. And I think that is very divisive. And I believe the National Cohesion and Integration Commission will do quite some sufficient job to ensure that we wipe out this kind of notion. We make sure that through electoral reforms and through the IBC, we make sure that we clean the platform of our politics of engagement. We make sure that politicians rally on agenda rather than tribal endearments, and make sure that we do root out scenarios where politicians use tribal lines to evoke emotions of the voters. That is the only way we can do away with that. But otherwise, Miriam, we shall be falling into these instances of electoral violence each and every election time. But I believe through the BBI, that question is sorted out. And I believe with its implementation, we shall be able to grow a society which believes in ideological approach when it comes to mobilizing politically, rather than appealing to the tribal emotions, Miriam.
All right, thank you so much, Daniel Wesonga. So now let's get into the BBI and see how is the BBI addressing these issues that were raised by Kenyans when they were submitting their views about their safety and security. And Kenyans told the task force that they do not feel sufficiently safe and secure from those who represented victims of terrorism to others victimized by domestic terrorism, mistreatment at the hands of security personnel, and a lack of trust in policing. Millions of Kenyans do not feel as secure as they should be. Professor, would this be an accurate assessment?
Miriam, it's true. The other day you were telling me that wherever you come from, a supermarket, your security is not assured.
In the CBDs, I don't feel safe
in
walking.
The CBD,
those
and
lovely
this
pavements.
Is in the city, Miriam.
Yeah.
And it could have not been your brother you were on that same day. You could be.
They would have taken everything from me. Yes.
You could have run in trouble.
Yes.
They could have taken all your shopping and your bag and everything else. So that one confirms what Kenyan said here is true, Miriam. The other day, you saw the police trying to net the people who have stolen the laptops, the people who have stolen some phones, and they were having the police jackets, Miriam. That one tells you, Miriam, that we are having young people who are so much sophisticated, Miriam. So for us to up the game, Miriam, and this is what the recommendation Kenyans have said, Miriam, that we need also to train our police forces, police officers, securities, Miriam, so that they can be able to match. Miriam, we have said about unemployment and how people are taking advantage of these poor people, Miriam. Miriam, Socrates used one day, he was being accused that he was being a bad moral, a bad example to the children, to the young people. He was setting a very bad example to the young people. And he agreed, fine, I have agreed, I am a bad example. He said, Miriam, who is the improver of the young people? And then the accusers were not even able to name Miriam one who improves the morality of the young people, Miriam. So there is no doubt, Miriam, even where the question you have asked Wesonga about our man. This is the mentality, Miriam, which we need to demystify. Let me just use as a case study, Miriam. I come from Nyamira. I come from the Abagusi Matoke people, Miriam. The Minister for Internal Security, we come from the same tribe. The Chief Justice, Miriam, we come from the same tribe. The Solicitor General, we come from the same tribe. Miriam, do they come, is he the Chief Justice of the Abagusi or is the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya? This is what we need to demystify, Miriam. That when you are a public servant, Miriam, you are there to serve the people of Kenya. And that's why, Miriam, when the young people feel neglected, Miriam, that's how insecurity comes in, Miriam. Javana said the people who can be able to sit and act the system, Miriam, and take money from yours, they transfer it to Dubai, to New York, and it's back to you and you spend it. They are the young people, Miriam. Mm-hmm. So Kenyans feel unsafe, Miriam. You talked about the environmental degradation, Miriam. We talk about climate change. You have seen what happens, Miriam, when floods come to this country. They sweeps everything, Miriam. The crops and all the animals. It makes people poor. And the people, Miriam, in any case, Miriam, in areas where you have ever found, Miriam, someone genuinely telling me that he has stolen because of Nja, Miriam, you feel that he cannot die simply because he has got nothing. So we deliberately need to say that in terms of security, Miriam, this is where we need to find who engages in young people. Who are the cattle rustlers, Miriam, doing cattle rustling, Miriam? We have had cases in Kabedo. I even saw the other day, they went into a JSU camp in Meru, around Chagoria, Douglas, and they attacked. So security, Miriam, is an issue. If we don't attend to the security, we must be very careful, Miriam. Otherwise, we lose our nation.
All right.
Who are being lured to terrorism activities, Miriam? It is the young people. And remember, the last time we were having university students from Moi, Nairobi University, going for to be terrorists, Miriam, to practice terrorism, Miriam. So in terms of security, Miriam, we have to stop anything else. And remember, if anything, Miriam, what the president is sworn into office to do is to protect life and properties.
The people of Kenya.
How do you protect life and properties? Is to ensure that there is a security, Miriam.
Okay, so Douglas, as a result, the task force observes with great concern that we will struggle to become a truly united and prosperous country if we do not have a security system that is responsive to the needs and rights of citizens and that is trusted and embraced by them. So from their observation and from what Kenyans put forth, they're saying all these other wonderful things, even the BBI is proposing, is good. But if the security and the causes of insecurity in this country are not addressed, then we'll still have a long way to go if we truly want to be united and prosperous as a country. What do you think?
You see, Miriam, one of the greatest impediment of progress and security in this nation is when the security apparatus are bought by the perpetrators of crime. For example, a politician will go and incite communities against each other. Then the next morning, instead of the OCS sending people to arrest him, the OCS will go and greet them and take coffee in their houses, and then they'll bribe their way and get out. Another issue is that issue of cattle rustling, when politicians in court with other criminals go and steal cows and other animals from the people. Politicians are not brought to book. Why? Because they have bought the political apparatus, and the people don't trust the not political apparatus, the security apparatus. The people don't trust the security apparatus because of the corruption that is inside there. We need to have a more responsive, a more friendly, and a more people or community-oriented security apparatus. A security apparatus that puts patriotism ahead of their greed. A security apparatus that puts the interest and security and safety of Kenyans before their personal interest or the people that bribe them and all that. We need to be able to trust that if I go to a police station today to get an affidavit on something, I'll get it free and fair, fast and efficiently. For example, if today you went reporting something to a police station, people will tell you the normal Kenyan system will drag their feet. So the task force was right to say that if the people don't trust the security apparatus, achieving safety and security of Kenyans will be an uphill task, because people of Kenya don't trust the security apparatus. When today I call my county commissioner, the county commissioner may receive my call. But what about the poor man in Katangacheni in Tharaka Nithi County? What about the poor man whose land has been grabbed by a Miraa Baron in Igembe North, or in Ibori, whose land has been grabbed by some wheat baron, some Mzungu somewhere? How we deal with this issue is how we are about to see in BBI, because if BBI addresses this thing, then Kenyans can have trust in their security system, and a security system that puts patriotism, puts country and humanity before anything else. Because, Miriam, in this country, we need to be able to call a spade a spade. There are politicians whose connection is not on their political affiliation, but on who they know on the security ranks. If today you are arrested by a constable in Meru and you call an OCS in Kobo, you call an OCS in Kariene or in Meru town, then the OCS will call the OCPD and the OCPD will call the regional commander, the police command, the county police commander. You are released immediately because you have influence in the society. I believe what we encompass as Kenyans and what BBI process encompasses is a time when people can be able to trust their security apparatus, where people can be able to get justice, whether you are a poor or rich, whether you are middle class or whether you are educated or not. we need to be able to have a responsive and a more cohesive security apparatus that touches the lives of young, old, middle, and all Kenyans of all walks of life. And I believe that we shall achieve that. We've seen there is a police council that is coming up in the BBI report. I believe that police council shall be empowered to be able to build capacity and be able to create and bring more reforms in the security sector that are going to uplift the trust and confidence that we have in our security apparatus in the country. And another thing that we need to be able to look closely at is that these reforms, when they are put, we need to inculcate these virtues in our officers, in our people, that we may not necessarily continue the way we used to continue, but we still be okay. Patriotism to country first needs to be a virtue that people should be able to get. Maybe a police officer may not be as corrupt as we may think, and they may come a wrong way when people want justice dispensed or justice averted, and then they corrupt the police officers. It is a collective responsibility between the people and the security sector so that we can be able to build a more cohesive, a more secure, and a more safe Kenya.
Thank you so much. And one of our viewers here, Karanja Pierce, thank you for joining us this morning. Karanja, we are looking at the proposals that were given to the BBI Steering Committee by Kenyans when it comes to safety and security, and some of the things that were proposed and how that was captured there in the BBI report. And you're saying the police officers, senior officers, are not serious when it comes to combat crimes. The biggest issue is corruption. And I know the police institution has in fact, it's the leading even now when it comes to corruption in the country. But, police does not engage in corruption by itself. We enable corruption. We make corruption thrive because we don't like doing things the right way. And Kenyans love shortcuts so much that sometimes it's just when you propose doing something the right way, people think you're crazy because people are just used to shortcuts and they want to do things out of what the law would, advise. So that is just something else. As much as we want to lay the blame on the police, we also have a bigger part that we're playing in terms of enhancing corruption in this country. So, towards safety and security, the task force wishes to state the following. Number one, all Kenyan lives matter. The value of Kenya, every Kenyan life is the same across every part of the country, and every death must be treated with equal seriousness. We must put a stop to the fact that there are different consequences in various parts of the country. A life lost to murder in the poverty-stricken Loima and Mathare should receive equal prevention, investigation, and prosecutorial attention as one in a wealthy Nairobi suburb. Javan, what do you think if we would approach if the police and the country and the justice system would have an approach in the sense that all lives in Kenya matter? Do you think partly would address the issue of marginalization? Because we saw when even terrorist attacks happened. Remember that happened in Dusit, or the other one that happened in Westgate, where we lost so many Kenyans and even foreigners who had come into this country, and a lot of things were also destroyed and lost there. You compare that with perhaps another part of the country which is not very well off. There were some complaints that sometimes how the security operators respond is quite different. But in this regard, they're saying all lives matter, and every lost life should be treated with the same attention, be given equal prevention, investigation, and prosecutorial attention. Will this address partly the issue of marginalization?
Yeah, Miriam, one thing that one will do, Miriam, we are made to believe that in this country, you need to be well off in matter financially and economically so that you can get police protection. Miriam, look at the people who own these private guns. They are the people who have money for their security purposes. When you go to these areas in even Nairobi and in other towns, you'll see that they have the place is quite secured, and they have even police patrols going around. But when you go to these areas of Kibra and Mathare, those things don't even exist. When they see police, they even run away because that is the kind of mentality they are made to believe that police is their enemy. And you see, this kind of mentality must come to an end. And it will come to an end when police start engaging the people and to be friendly to the people. And I like when the president was saying that the police should start being housed outside the police station so that they can start interacting with the people in the villages, in the estates, so that at the end of the day, they create a rapport with the people who they're supposed to serve. Because Miriam, at the end of the day, and I don't like referring to our security officers as a force, because Miriam, a force, when you call them a police force, a police whatever, Miriam, force is something that you apply, whether bad or good, it will cause some pain.
What do you propose? What do you propose, Karanja? What do you call them?
We call them a kind of a service or a unit.
All right.
Maybe that could be better when you refer them to a police unit or a police service. But when we call them force, because Miriam, there's an African proverb that says, a man who uses force is deficient of reasoning. And that is what exactly we have seen our police do. They use force even in circumstances they were not supposed to use. I saw them the other day beating one of our seasoned journalists because he went to cover a story and they didn't want that kind of an exposure. And they were beating that man. You see, that is why they are a force. It is a force that does not reason. And I think one thing, Miriam, we must do is the recruitment of the police. We should not make a police a unit of people who fails in their exams. These are the people who are causing all manner of things in the school. Because, Miriam, when you get a grade that will take you to university, you don't qualify to be a police officer. You must get a lower grade so that you become a police officer, so that you can join the
Do you think that has anything to do with the quality of police officers we have, really?
Yeah, Miriam, it has a quality because, Miriam, a person who, I'm not saying that it's bad to fail in exam, but Miriam, a person who gets an a D minus in their KCSE, Miriam, I'm not saying that education should be used as a measure to gauge whether these people can qualify to the police officer.
But it does help.
We should also use other medium. Not only the education. We used to need to use people. Miriam, there are young people when we were growing up. They used to tell us when we were in primary school, they would like to be armies, they would like to be police officers. These people were interested from day one to be the police officers. But because of the corruption that we have in the recruitment process, maybe their parents don't have the money to pay the 300,000 that is required so that you can join the service. And they end up taking a different career path. The people who are there, these are people who are forced. Some of them are being forced by their parents because they have money. You just join that army, you go for this police service unit, and you see these kind of things. We have people who are not interested in first of all, even to be police officers. Yeah. Therefore, that is why they end up doing manners and all manner of things. And I feel like we need to have also, apart from the recruitment of the police officers, we should also ensure that we have people of integrity. Before they are taken to the service, we should also go back to their primary school, their secondary school, the village life, so that we see people of women and men of integrity in that service. That is the only way that we will be able even to solve the issue of marginalization, Miriam. Because a person who was taken there in the first place through corruption, how can he curb corruption? How can he curb marginalization? Miriam, it is impossible. We need men and women who, and I think we should be applying. People should start applying to be police officers. Like we apply to go for college and university, not just coming there and saying, do this and do this, and you take your things there in one day and the process is done. So that we can have even the shortlisting. We know this person will be taken to this thing, so that we have that level of transparency.
That's you've raised really key and pertinent.
Let me put a right on that.
Go ahead.
Yes, Evan has spoken quite well, and I think he has some genuine concern. However, just like we cannot speak about the people's rights as exposed in our constitution without mentioning our responsibilities, it's also the same way that we shouldn't only speak, throw the ball at leave the back at the feet of the police officers of the police force feet, and really ignore whatever perception and whatever notion that the society has created today. And one thing is that you'll find people complaining more about the police officers, but it is the same police officers that when they are in kind of a jeopardy or maybe some kind of need, they call upon to assist them. So therefore, as a society also, we have a role to play in terms of changing the perception on which we look upon our police officers. We have to really respect our police force for the good work that they do during those situations when we are under attack from our enemies. We need to really have a future society, our children, and instill into them morals that will show them to on how to treat other members of the society with regard, because it is amongst these young people that we select the best people to go and join our discipline forces. And that happened in Singapore, Miriam. When Singapore was getting its independence in 1969 from the British, people really had a very bad notion about the police officers. They had a very detestful notion about the military. And what the first Prime Minister of Singapore did was to reform the military. And he started that by, first of all, building some kind of a moral background from the society itself, and building some kind of perception from the parents, telling them that if your kid goes to serve our country as a policeman, as a military officer, then this is a badge of pride that comes not only to him or her, but to the entire family. And therefore, you have to encourage your young men and women to join our police force and our military so that they serve this nation diligently. And also, you have to make sure that at home, before they go to serve the nation, tell them that being put in this particular position is not a platform to enrich yourself as an individual, but rather it is a duty upon you to serve your nation without prejudice, with equality, and with the valor that comes with it. So therefore, in as much as we speak about reforming our police force, our police service, and our military and other law enforcement agencies, also we have to change our perception as a society, because you'll find that a majority of Kenyans will look down a police officer as someone who do not have some kind of enough intellectual enrichment. While right now, Miriam, times are changing, and we'll find so many police officers who are pursuing their degree courses. We have so many police officers who are doing their masters. We have even who have doctorates and PhDs. So we have to change our perception before we are able to apportion blame to the police service itself. And from there, when change begins from the society, the basic unit of our nationhood, the family unit, the church, the school, then we shall be able to trickle it down to our forces, and not only to our police forces, even other departments of government in civil service. So I believe we have even a much bigger role to play than just those established institutions do.
All right.
So that is my submission, Miriam.
Thank you so much for that rejoinder there. Now, Professor, a couple of things that Javan there was able to bring up, and that is pointing out,
Miriam.
we are looking at the safety. Before you come in, Javan, I'll come back to you just a moment. We are looking at how the BBI has addressed the issue of safety and security, and we know our police force and our disciplined forces are in the heart of this, but also some of the things that Kenyans said they need to be enhanced for them to feel safe and secure, because apparently from this report, what Kenyans went there to say is that they don't feel as secure as they should. So that brought us to this conversation we're having now. And Javan, while you're talking, you you brought up the issue of the corrupt even process of recruiting these police officers. And we know this happens. I'm not saying all of them were recruited in this manner, but we know a lot of times the recruitment process is marred with a lot of corruption. And we've seen that even play out in the public there. We've seen reports of that even in our media here. So this person joined the forces corruptly, Professor, but is expected to go fight corruption. Oxymoronic, don't you think?
Miriam, that's very true, and I entirely agree with Javan that our police service should not be a dumping ground. That should not be a place where failures are. That if you need to have a D plus and then you become one. No, that is not. We want to make it a profession so that Miriam, that whoever wants to join there will join with, of course, integrity, with skills, with people with high morals, Miriam. And I know of an old man, Miriam, who sold land, and he paid around 400,000 for his son to be recruited in the police force. And the son was not recruited. You want me to finish the story? What happened? That old man had to die. So he collapsed. He could not observe the shock. So what you are trying to say, Miriam, you give a computer garbage. What does it give you? It gives you garbage. We give our police force. If that's how we look at it, Miriam, what do you expect? Garbage. If someone has the land has been sold for him to be recruited, it is not an imagination, it's something I've seen with my own eyes and heard with my own ears. I'm not cooking the story. So Miriam, this person already, when he enters there, Miriam, is to recoup money and go and buy the land which was sold. So we must have a procedure which is accountable, which is transparent, which ensures that this is how we get the police officers to serve in the service. That is point number 2. Number 2, when we have recruited these people into the service, Miriam, we don't give them facilities, equipment to serve us. Sometimes there are some times, Miriam, you have seen a policeman with tattered shoes and the uniform. I have seen it. And then you wonder what happens, Miriam. Miriam, even where these police officers are living, they are living in deplorable conditions. Miriam, you find someone is a married man and they are staying in a house. Space. And then one they're sitting. What I've seen, Miriam, it's even terrible, Miriam. We have even had some of these police officers frustrated, Miriam, shooting each other. So what if we need, as people presented themselves to the task force, the steering committee, Miriam, they have given recommendation on how we want our police service officers to look about. That's what Germany was trying to say, that time has come for us not to see the police service as a dumping ground that everybody can you can fail an exam and get a D and you simply do this. We have seen, Miriam, again, that a primary P1 teacher teaches a student, and after standard 8, he goes and enters at, it used to be administrative police, Miriam, and he earns more than this. So, Miriam, we must be able to address some of the challenges we are finding ourselves in as SAD. And the PPI gave us an opportunity, Miriam, for Kenyans to ventilate on what they fed on security and the safety. That is the way forward. I support, Miriam.
All right, very well. So Douglas, Jevan, I'll come to you after Douglas. Number 2 of towards safety and security, the task force wishes to set the following. So number 1, we've looked at it. And number 2, recognizing that security is for the protection of citizens. We need to move our thinking from national security to human security. To do so, our security policies and strategies must be developed after consultation with all Kenyan and must take into account their views on their safety. That means engaging Kenyans and making sure they're part of the process, because some of these things touching on people, if you don't engage them, they will not feel part of the process. And so if you leave them behind and you still want to come implement this thing on them that they don't even realize they have a bigger role to play, there will be a conflict there. So what do you make of this proposal there in the BBI in terms of consultation with Kenyans and to make sure we take account their views on their safety and how they would like to be protected? Douglas, will this be a game changer?
I want to take you. Yes, please.
Will this enhance security and will it be a game changer in the security situation in the country?
Yes. I want to take you back to a few years ago. We have seen on TV, and the latest was yesterday or the other day, the disarmament program in Isiolo. And we have seen when government goes out to disarm the people and make sure that the program succeeds, what we come across most of the time is that the government uses force and sends police officers to go and disarm people when when the grace period they have been given elapses, let's say 3 months or 4 months. But the communities out there, most of the time, do not respond positively to such initiatives. It is the same communities that tell the government, we want to be disarmed, so we will surrender our arms peacefully, and the government and the people agree on what to do. But when the time comes for the government to effect the disarmament program, the people resist. So many are killed, many are displaced, and houses burnt and all that. And in the process, we have seen people saying that when government entered a disarmament program, their properties were destroyed and many people were put into jail and all that. We need to have a conversation between the government and the people about our safety. If people are involved in the whole process from the word go, no one is going to renege on their word. The government is not going to renege on their word, and the people themselves are not going to renege on their word. I have seen, my father was in the provincial administration, I have seen people before, I have seen communities before reporting criminals and making sure the government succeeds. I have seen Kenyans, patriotic Kenyans, making sure that government programs succeed. For example, if someone is selling bang or illicit brew in some places, the government is informed, maybe the DC, the DO, and the whole of provincial administration or Ministry of Interior is informed. We've seen people surrender these people themselves. We've seen them take the initiative of informing the security apparatus and also assisting the government to do that. We want to see more of that when it comes to safety and growth of Kenyans, especially when their security is concerned. You can have all the money that you want in the world. You can have everything that you want, but peace is more important. Peace is paramount to your growth as a Kenyan. Peace is important for your stability as a businessman, as a farmer, and even as a government official. Because the people that want to revolt and to rebel against the government would come to your head, and you will not have a hard time working when maybe they attack a chief or a DO and all that. In Meru, and between the conflict between the people of Tharaka and the people of Meru in Imenti Central and Tharaka constituency in 1990s, the people attacked a DC, and when the DC was attacked, there was government deployed a lot of people to go and quell the violence that had broken between the people of Imenti and the people of Tharaka. And when that conflict was ongoing, my father would come and tell us, at that time he told me, because I wasn't born by that time, he would come and tell us later on as a story how people would have their own arrangement, security arrangement, and the other side would have their own security arrangement. The next thing that would happen is that the government have their own program that they don't want to inform the people. So the conflict would be between two communities and the government. But when the government and the people agreed, we have not had so much of drama there, and we have not had violence there again. What we have now is the government wants to give people title deeds where there were conflict before, and that is a welcome plan, and we appreciate that.
All
so
right.
people, when the government
and people
security,
partner.
Yes, Miriam?
So you're saying when the government partners with the people, the security will be more enhanced.
Yes.
All right,
because
thank you.
the people that died in 1980s and 1990s between the people of Tharaka and the people of Imenti, where I come from, in Kiagu Ward, would not have died if the government had engaged the people on the program they wanted to implement, or what the thoughts of the people from either sides wanted implemented. And we have also seen, like I've mentioned, on the disarmament programs. We've seen many communities resist the disarmament, and when they resist the disarmament, the government uses force to disarm the people. But these are things that can be able to be done when government engages the people, because government is in our communities, government is in our towns, government is everywhere that we are, and government listens to what the people are saying. So if the government get to partner with communities and the communities partner with government, our security is enhanced. Because when violence breaks out in a country, when there is instability, let's say in Kapendo, when there is instability in some other place in this country, women and children and all the people suffer. businesses will suffer, transportation will suffer, and all that.
All right.
We saw that when there was a conflict between some community and I think business people in Mayu Mayu, the road was cut off for some hours, and there was conflict, and business was dragged, transportation was dragged, national security was put under threat because that road provides food, transport, and also security for the people. We need to address these issues and also get people on board and make sure the people and government are on the same page, because government are not for-profit organizations or outfits. Government are for the service of the people and for the people.
All right, thank you so much. And Professor Jared Onyari wants to step out, but before he does that, Professor, your final thoughts, especially on this point of security policy and strategies must be developed after consultation with all Kenyans and must take into account their views on their safety.
Very, very well, Miriam, and I'm very happy with what Douglas has raised. You know, I am on record, and I will continue speaking on this. Involve people, Miriam. Inform people. Consult people. You know, Miriam, people have got solutions to the problem they are faced with. Simple as that, Miriam. And Miriam, if there is one area, Miriam, where people need to be assured that once they take action, that once they get involved, action will be taken to some of the perpetrators who commit crime, who cause insecurity. Miriam, the sad will be just okay. We have said the rotten police force, Miriam. Someone is arrested in the morning, in the evening is coming to threaten you. Where will you take me? You think, Miriam, this person will report again tomorrow? They will not. If anything, Miriam, this is what makes people to resort to mob justice, because they know our system does not work. And Miriam, let me tell you one of the reasons of extrajudicial killing. It is because the police are frustrated with the new constitution. They arrest this person, he gets paid, he comes out, and continues to commit more crimes, Miriam. What am I trying to say? That security starts with me, and security is for us all. Miriam, sometimes I've been to my village, Miriam, I reach there, and find someone has assaulted someone, injured this person very badly, but this person cannot get a witness to go and stand in a court of law. And again, Miriam, the community and the society will turn against this person. Now you are going to make this person. Until the time we learn that, Miriam, crime must be punished. That's when our security will be assured, Miriam. So what we need to do, Miriam, the citizen, the people, have to work very closely with the security groups. We have to enhance our Nyumba Kumi community policing so that the people are brought on board, Miriam. Miriam, we have to ensure that security begins with you and me. If you see a crime taking place, Miriam, it should be our responsibility, Miriam, to make this one. But Miriam, people must be given assurance that while they make a report, they ensure that their safety is guaranteed, Miriam. So in this, I agree that we need to engage. We need to continue having a conversation. We need to involve, we need to discuss, we need to allow people to participate, Miriam. And I have said, Miriam, that if you involve people, Miriam, go and ask the young children, the children, Miriam, how will you want to be called? Do you want to be called children or young people? Do you know the word they will choose? They will choose young people. You have recognized them as a people. Although basically the same, but the way we package, they will say, call us people. You have recognized that they are also human beings, they are not children whom you can be tossed around. So Miriam, when it comes to the security, and this is what Kenyans said through the steering committee, Miriam, and the recommendations are very, very, very good, Miriam. We have heard the president saying that security begins with us. We should not allow into a way, Miriam, where that we can allow the security to be managed by the vigilante groups. Where I come from, in the Western, there are Msumbiji boys. Where I come from, Jingororo. Whereas Central will be Mongikis, Kisumu will be Baghdad boys, those kind of things. When we allow ourselves to degenerate into vigilante groups, Miriam, Kenyans will not feel secure. So what we want, I'm trying to give a recommendation here that I agree that all of us need to work together for our security. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor, and enjoy your next meeting there. Thank you so much for your time today. And so the next question to Daniel, the third point in that safety and security as captured there in the BBI, saying that to ensure that safety and security is prioritized on government programs, require every incoming president to publish his national safety and security strategies and to give regular updates on them. On that point, I have perhaps two concerns in regards to that point, because if the incoming president was to go publish his national safety and security strategy
to protect the lives and properties of the people of Kenya. And of course, I believe in the security quarters, we have the information which is worth sharing to the public, like what the National Intelligence Service through the President just did recently about the terrorization around the country and the security situation in terms of our engagements as a people. I believe that is something that can be shared to the public, and also just a strategy on how much the government is determined to fight things like external attacks through terrorism and radicalization and all that. I believe there's some bits of information that the nation needs to know, because it's also something good to boost the morale of the country, to just tell citizens that while I'm at the helm of the power, the president, I'm really so much concerned about your security. I have plans in place. We are going to do all it calls to ensure that you are safe, and our security forces are more determined to ensure that your safety comes as a priority. So I believe that is the best way to go, rather than just keeping the public in the darkness when it comes to the security strategy. And that has been done world over. We have had new presidents in the US. We have had new prime ministers in the UK. Talking about their strategy on combating global, domestic and global terrorism, making sure that we do reduce police brutality and all those kind of things that affect the citizenry. So I believe it's a good provision in the BBI, but also maybe what citizens need to know is that perhaps in the security quarters, it all goes to a certain extent. We have a caveat on it. So we have those quite intensive intelligence matters that can only be within the confines of the intelligence circles and the key state security apparatus and the president. And we also have those ones that can be, of course, inconsequential, but which are matters of formality that can be communicated to the citizens of a country. But I believe it's a good provision. It makes the citizens and the law enforcement agencies part and parcel of ensuring that Kenya becomes a secure nation. We become vigilant and support our security forces in ensuring that we have security, we have peace amongst ourselves, and our nation becomes a harbor of tranquility and serenity. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a good proposition, Miriam. Only that it has some caveat on it, on the extent of which the president can talk about their strategy.
All right, Viral, thank you so much. And the fourth point, there's a lot, so you might not be able to exhaust everything today, but maybe this is a conversation we shall carry on talking about, because safety and security of Kenyans is something that is key, and we shall continue looking at some of those points. But for today, point number 4 says develop and operationalize a national emergency, disaster and crisis management strategy in every county, sub-county and ward. Number 5, promulgate the law contemplated by Article 208 for the operation of contingency fund. And number 6, prevent communal resource conflict by ensuring the county boundaries are drawn to maximize the sharing of water and pasture, among other resources. And number 7, protect Kenyans from harmful foodstuffs and medicines by strengthening food and medicine safety supervision. Javen.
Yes.
Those points that have been suggested there by the BBI.
And that is a very progressive move towards having a secured country. And Miriam, before I come to those points, let me say this. In order to achieve a maximum cooperation, I agree with Wesonga and the professor that we need to have a coordinated mechanism between the people and the police. And Miriam, that will only be realized if the people of Kenya uphold the morals. They are there to uphold the virtues and the values that are good in the society. And that is one way of ensuring that we have security, because at the end of the day, Miriam, security begins and starts with me and you. Therefore, that is a very good thing. And we must encourage even people to understand that kind of analogy that is quite effective in ensuring that we have a security in our country. And Miriam, on what the BBI is proposing, I agree that we need to have a crisis management in every county, so that those people who are in disagreement, those people who may be having a problem, maybe, for example, is in Murang'a and there is a group that is terrorizing the residents, then we need to sit down with the people around that area so that we understand why is the insecurity in this place. Because, Miriam, we must understand that our counties are quite diverse, and in matter insecurity, there are also different factors that trigger insecurity in a particular county. Therefore, the issue that causes insecurity in Kisumu might be different with an issue that will cause insecurity in Isiolo. Because in Isiolo, we expect to have the cattle rustling, to be the people who are fighting for pasture. But in Kisumu, it's be quite different. Therefore, Miriam, we need to have that kind of a unique solution and a kind of a crisis management to every county that is suitable to that specific county. Because, Miriam, if we do it as we do it nationally, we might have some people who feel like they are marginalized, they are left out, the issue are not well addressed. But when we take it down there, people will be able to bring their issues. As what Keremi was saying, the people of Meru were able to solve their issues with the Rakas when they sat down and had a conversation and they negotiated around what is affecting them. And that is a score even to the BBI. And I feel like when we implement, and this document passes and sees the light of the day, and we have the right people to implement it, then this will be a very milestone achievement in ensuring that we have security in our country. And now, lastly, Miriam, we should also make sure that we elect good leaders in future that will be able to implement such good documents, Miriam. We may have a good document that proposes such good things to ensure that we have security in our country. But if it goes to the wrong people for implementation, Miriam, we might not achieve that kind of an agenda at the end of the day. And finally, Miriam, security is a very important thing. And the government must also work in cooperation with everybody in this country, all groups, to ensure that their concerns are well taken care of. Because, Miriam, the people, especially the pastoralists, I think this is an area where we have a lot of problem. And they must also sit down and come up with their own kind of a unique things to settle their disputes. And that is something that will work miraculously to ensure that we heal these problems of insecurity and ensuring that young people are hopeful for better days in future, and that we create favorable environment to do business and for employment.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So in conclusion, Douglas, number 8 there says mainstream and coordinate the prevention of radicalization and violent extremism initiatives in the ministries responsible for health, education, youth, culture and heritage, as well as other relevant governmental bodies. So we just don't wait for these young people after they've been involved in these extremist groups. So they are arraigned in court, and that's when we come in to try to do some damage control and try to talk to them. But we should instead put some prevention measures in place, and the BBI is proposing that these should be initiatives that will be incorporated in the ministries responsible for health, education, youth, culture and heritage, as well as other relevant governmental bodies. Will this help in tackling the issue of extremism here in the country? Douglas, as we conclude.
Yes, sir. Yes, Miriam, if the government today takes the youth and involves them that every morning when they wake up, they have something to do. And these people are trained on things that they can be able to do and be able to grow and advance as a people. One of the problems that we have as a taking in this country is that we have a group of people who have no access to opportunities and who have no access to skills that can be able to bring food on the table. For example, in every place you find in this country, the youth have access to technology and youth have access to internet, but they have no access, can be able to fund their activities. In 1990, there was like Nandi crashes and the Ruo crashes. Of those days used to give spears and pangas and everything that they could to be able to give to Nandis and Ruos. The sugar plantations were burnt and many other things were done contrary to what the expectation of the government of Kenya or the people of Kenya would want. Politicians used inflammatory, and the young people used to go on and defend their leaders and be able to bring the crashes that we recorded in 1990. The Drum, December 1990, reported that the young people have nothing else to do. What they used to do, they would wake up and go fight for these politicians. Two politicians would send battles to young people so that they would be defended by the same group of people that they have defranchised and denied opportunities. So the young people in this country, instead of waiting to get young people, when young people get into Mungiki and then we say we rehabilitate them and get them, we can be able to do something. We are not helpless. We in 21st century, the government can do something, the communities can do something to be able to issues and also empower our young people. We in 21st century, and what was used against young people in 1990 can no longer be applicable in 21st century. In 1990, they were using pangas and all that to destroy and burn sugar plantation people using spears. Today, they are using spears as coded messages sent on their WhatsApp and their Facebook accounts so that they can attack other politicians and other leaders and also make the country unhabitable for so many people. I've seen the women rep for Kiambu County, Gathoni Mushomba. She said, young people have told her, when you come to our place, we shall show you who we are. We are going to attack you, we are going to kill. The same methods that were used in the same people that were funding those things, except that the crop of readers has left and the others have taken it. It is the same forest, different monkeys that were used in 1990 before I was born, are the same thing employed to young people today. And we need to be able, like the BBI is proposing, that in every ward, young people shall be empowered, there shall be business incubation centers and also tax holidays to make sure that young people do something bigger than helping politicians secure a job or look for a job. I tell young people that politicians in this country are either looking at a job. Young people should be able to be mainstreamed into the job sector and also secure the employment, risk usable tools and technologies of 21st century. The young people have been used for far so long. Sean and other people can attest to this, that there are so many young from politicians that every week they receive handouts, every month they receive handouts, and these handouts go between $100 to $200. There's not much that they can get, not others, and cause mayhem on social media. So young people, when they are mainstreamed into the society and also every reformist, we can be able to solve these issues and also get to grow our communities and grow our nation. And one of the greatest threats to national security that even the National Security Council should look into is the issue of young people idle young graduates in villages, in kids, and other places. And this is what the politicians are taking advantage of. Remember, these politicians are looking for a job, Miriam, and others are defending their jobs, using the card of ethnicity and all manner of things, and also maybe fighting BBI on social media, using young people and all that, to be able to destroy the minds of young people. These young people are not the 1990 young people that were used by the politicians that were blamed. I don't want to go on record for anyone. So whoever was using young people in 1990, it has come back again that years later, and he is using the young people using social media. The government can be able to empower their declared extremist groups, and before we are told about rehabilitating the young people, we can seize this moment. As we are seizing the BBI, we can seize this moment and mainstream the young people and put them into proper structures that earns them a living beyond their political ambitions and lack of it thereof.
All right.
Because in this country, we should have a choice on whoever we vote for. If I want to vote for President X, I can X and vote for Z. So young people should be able to be empowered before they are declared extremist groups. I submit it.
Thank you so much, Douglas. Daniel, on the same, one of the proposals there on the BBI in terms of safety and security is to mainstream and coordinate the prevention of radicalization and violent extremism initiatives in the ministries responsible for health, education, youth, culture, and heritage, as well as other relevant governmental bodies. What, in a nutshell here, Kenyans are saying, can we be proactive when it comes to how we deal with our security and potential insecurity in the country? Daniel.
Miriam, one thing about Israel is that it is a country which is surrounded by a very extremist Arab countries, Muslim countries. But regardless of that, the state of Israel has been able to experience a relative period of peace and tranquility among its citizens. And this is because the citizens from a very early age, they are trained about matter security, on how to watch out for any activity that might be terror or extremist related. And also their security forces, they have been adequately been trained on how to investigate this and be able to be always on watch out 24/7. And that is what has sustained and carried forward the state of Israel, regardless of the fact that it has the highest number of states which are very, very aggressive and are very quite violent towards it. And therefore, that tells you that if we make this our objective to educate our young people, to be able to inculcate into them that kind of notion that we always have to be on the alert, we always have to obey rules and be able to watch out for security matters and be able to protect our society. I think when that takes root, we shall have a nation which is very, very much conscious when it comes to security matters. And that, as always said, Miriam, when we recommend this to be integrated into our curriculum, in our churches, in our home, in our family unit, then it has a very, very high probability of succeeding in the long run. Because that is what China did. It's so that whenever children were taken to a monastery, and these Buddhist credentials were inculcated into them, then growing up, these children will be as citizens. Morals cannot be compromised at any particular point. They will apply these new moral principles that were inculcated into them from an early age of 7 to 15 years, will carry them throughout their lifetime. So I think it is a very, very good strategy in as much as our security is concerned, when we do it through integrating it in our cultural enterprise, in our education curriculum, and also just doing community-based enlightenment on the same. So I believe it's a very efficient way that has been recommended to ensure that this particular view in the BBI takes root, and it does so with a very, very strong foundational basis, Miriam. I submit.
Thank you so much. Karanja, I've finished for us for today.
And thank you very much, Miriam, for the privilege of making my conclusion. And let me say this, security is a very important thing. And Miriam, we know we cannot go on with our lives when the security is deplorable. And that is why I feel like the government should invest a lot in the security. And Miriam, we must agree that we also talk about the legacy of the President Uhuru Kenyatta. And security was among the 4 big agenda that he has for this country. And Miriam, we have the Nyumba Kumis in this country that ensures that we have security and the coordination that ensure that Kenyans live in harmony and a peaceful coexistence. Therefore, Miriam, as I conclude, I would like to say that we Kenyans, we must also respect our police officers. We must uphold them when they do good, Miriam. I see when police officers does a good thing, nobody celebrates them. But when they go on the contrary and they beat up people and they use force and brutality, we are all over, myself included, because I'm a champion of people of, I don't champion a lot of police. I'm one of the people who goes fire on and say that the police are using force and the brutality should stop. Therefore, it's an all-sided angle. It's like a triangle that is equilateral triangle where we have the 3 corners. Therefore, everybody must take their corner and make sure that we have security in this country. Because Miriam, if I know you want to engage on a crime and I don't report to the security agencies, then Miriam, I'm also culpable of the same crime. That is the kind of mentality that we should have, because that is one of the character of patriotism, reporting law breakers to the law officers. Therefore, Miriam, at the end of the day, we as a people, we must respect the rule of law, uphold the constitution, so that at the end of the day, we will not be breaking the law that is supposed to govern us. And to our police officers, they must make sure that they work to the people of Kenya. They should not be used by the politician to kill people like is happening in Uganda. They should be used to bring harmony and peaceful coexistence. Thank you, Miriam. I submit.
Thank you so much, Javan Karanja from Nanyuki. Thank you, Daniel Wasonga from Nairobi. Professor Jared Onyari left the conversation a bit earlier. And of course, thank you so much, Douglas Kirimi, there coming to us from Meru. We've been looking at safety and security as it has been proposed on the BBI. And of course, Kenyans told the task force that they do not feel sufficiently safe and secure, from those who represented victims of terrorism to others victimized by domestic terrorism, mistreatment at the hands of security personnel, and a lack of trust in policing. Millions of Kenyans do not feel as secure as they should. As a result, the task force observes with great concern that we will struggle to become a truly united and prosperous country if you do not have a security system that is responsive to the needs and rights of citizens and that is trusted and embraced by them. So we were just looking at some of the points and proposals on how Kenyans feel their security should be enhanced. So they have a couple of points. So today we've only done up to number 8. The points go up to number 19. So we shall come with the part 2 of safety and security and how BBI have captured the points that Kenyans gave them there and how it intends to address the issue of insecurity and safety of Kenyans and Kenya itself here. So thank you so much for being with us. My name is Miriam Ogutu. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye for now.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.